This episode of Distraction is sponsored by Omega Bright CBD, formulated by Omega Bright Wellness, creators of the #1 omega-3 supplements for the past 20 years. Omega Bright CBD, safe, third-party tested, and it works. Shop online at omegabrightwellness.com. And by Landmark College, offering comprehensive support for students with ADHD and other learning differences. Learn more at lcdistraction.org. Landmark College, the college of choice for students who learn differently. Hello and welcome to Distraction. I'm your host, Dr. Ned Hallowell. Today I want to respond to a question we received from one of our listeners named Dennis. And by the way, we love getting these questions. Dennis wrote, "Hello, Dr. Hallowell. I have ADHD and 4 of my children, ages 15, 13, 10, and 8, have been diagnosed with ADHD by their pediatricians. I wish I were a confident guide for them about how to thrive with this condition, but instead I'm a mess. I was diagnosed at age 37 after having developed anxiety, depression, and a panic disorder. All the kids have taken Ritalin, but none takes it regularly because of the way it suppresses the appetites of the 2 oldest. The current pediatrician sees no problem with not taking it as long as they are doing well in school. My wife is inclined to use this same gauge for the necessity, usefulness of the medication. But I have seen my kids lose confidence and joy as they've aged. And I'm sure it's partly because of typical ADHD woes. I think they just hide the effects well, as I did when I was a child. What can I do to make sure they are best prepared to thrive when I can't show them by example? Should I try to get them under the care of an ADHD expert? If so, how do I even find one? I'll appreciate any suggestions you offer. Dennis." Well, first of all, Dennis, I think you're a whole lot better than you think you are. Just judging from the letter you wrote, you're a caring, attentive, loving father. And I think like an awful lot of adults with ADHD, you sell yourself short. And you don't need an ADHD expert. They are hard to find. I don't know where you live, but the most reliable way is to go to the nearest medical school and go through the Department of Child Psychiatry. And that's where the most specialists reside in medical schools in the Department of Child Psychiatry. But failing that, just get one of my books. I mean, honestly, not to peddle my own wares, but they're very good. And I would get Delivered from Distraction or Superparenting for ADD. Either one of those would have more than you could possibly need or want. Delivered from Distraction or Superparenting for ADD. And read those, and you'll become an expert, not only for your kids, but for yourself. And learning about this condition is the single best way to master it, to turn it from a liability into an asset. And that's the goal. I don't treat disorders. I help people unwrap their gifts. And the way to do that is to understand the condition, the ins and outs, the nooks and the crannies, like a Thomas's English muffin, which I had one this morning. A lot of nooks and crannies, a lot of little holes, a lot of interesting terrain in the world of ADHD. And the more you can understand it, the more you can anticipate the pitfalls and take advantage of the upsides. Regarding medication, I think you're wrong to say don't bother with it as long as you're doing well in school, because they may still be struggling even though they're putting up good grades. You can be number 1 in your class and be struggling, not be performing as well as you otherwise could. It's like needing eyeglasses, or driving on square wheels. So I would not use grades as a gauge of whether or not you need medication. However, I would work with your pediatrician or whatever doctor you do see to find a medication where you have no side effects other than appetite suppression without weight loss. So you have to eat, and the best meal to pig out is breakfast. have a high-calorie breakfast, eggs, pancakes, bacon. If you're in a hurry, make a shake with yogurt and ice cream and some frozen fruit or fresh fruit, whatever, and some powdered protein. You want to get some protein in for sure. But 80% of the time, you can find a medication regimen where you have no side effects other than appetite suppression without unwanted weight loss. And then you should take it every day. In fact, you'll want to take it every day because, it's nice having eyeglasses, instead of having to squint. Or it's nice having round wheels instead of driving on square wheels. So I would learn about the condition, read my books. If you want to find an ADHD expert, go to the nearest medical school, the Department of Child Psychiatry, and then work with your doctor to find a medication regimen where you can take the meds every day, including weekends, without side effects, just with target symptom improvement. And if you do that, confidence will rise because it's nice to do well. And if they're doing okay without medication, imagine how much better they can do with medication. And again, the anxiety and depression that so often accompanies ADD is usually due to the fact that the ADD itself is not well treated. You feel anxious because you're missing stuff, and you feel quote unquote depressed because you're underachieving, you're frustrated. And it's disheartening to underachieve, not do as well as you could do. Hope that answers your questions. They're very good questions, and you are a very good dad. Thanks so much for writing in, and keep us posted. Let us know how this goes. Well, I want to once again thank you to our sponsor, Omega Bright Wellness. I've been taking their omega-3 supplement for years and recently started their CBD supplement as well. Omega Bright products, I trust them because I know the woman who's in charge of the company, a Harvard Medical School graduate. She's very fussy about quality, efficacy, and is always looking to make sure that the product she has is the best in the business. And Distraction listeners can save 20% off their first order with the promo code podcast2020 at omegabrightwellness.com. All right, remember to reach out to us with your questions, thoughts, and show ideas. Just as Dennis who wrote in, we love to get your questions. We will answer them and keep you informed and up to date. To do it, to send us an idea or a question, send an email or a voice memo. Those are great because we can play them on the air. Send an email or a voice memo to connect@distractionpodcast.com. That's the word connect @distractionpodcast.com. And check us out on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We're working hard to develop much more of a social media presence, so help us out with that, would you please? Distraction is created by Sounds Great Media. Our producer is the wonderfully perfect and estimable Sarah Guertin, and our recording engineer and editor is the brilliant, talented Scott Persson, and that's Persson with 2 S's. I'm Dr. Ned Hallowell. Goodbye for now. The episode you just heard was sponsored by Omega Bright CBD, formulated by Omega Bright Wellness, creators of the #1 omega-3 supplements for the past 20 years. Omega Bright CBD, safe, third-party tested, and it works. Shop online at omegabrightwellness.com.